It is always your fear. That's the title of a message on my site, anyadvicefortoday.com. It's a Wilhelm message, and I do know that that is actually true. That it's the fear that keeps you stuck, that keeps you where you are, and you would probably be experiencing a little bit more of that now just due to the changes that have happened in your life and also in our world. But also, that fear comes from when you don't take the next step in owning who you are. And I know that one real well as well because that's the life that I've lived. And so now I can give something back to everyone else. So we don't have to do that. We can accomplish anything, and I do know that. When I've talked about I was given the philosophy that would change your life and our world, I do know that that is true. Because the only difficulty that you might experience in your life, especially now, is not knowing who you are and your authentic self and not being willing to take the journey to uncover it. Because sometimes uncovering it is too uncomfortable. We don't want to look at ourselves. And I was just speaking to someone just now who's experiencing things happening in his life that he thought would never happen before. He never thought that would occur. And then he's still feeling like he has the imposter syndrome, which we all do. I felt that way my entire life. And now I can no longer do that because I know it's not true. I know it's not true for you either. And that was the life that I was meant to live, to bring in this philosophy. But I'm going to explain it today because we're moving through some dynamic changes in our world, and you might not understand it, but I do. But I was kind of holding back because maybe they won't believe, maybe they won't understand, and that's just my difficulty. We all have things we must get over, but you have this intuition that's within you that is telling you that something is happening in your life right now that you want to do, or that you're confused about, or you might be really afraid. But when you start to own yourself, you get over the fear. This is why I wrote the book, Overcoming Fear, A Guide to Freedom. Did that in 2019. Because, see, Wilhelm has guided me to know that where we are right now would be a little challenging, which is why they said they gave me a philosophy which didn't make sense to me. Something you have within you probably might not make sense or you might not believe it, but I know that it's there. That was the other skill or development that I had, was becoming a mystic, a sage, and a prophet. So I wrote it all down for you, meaning I lived a life where I brought in a philosophy and says, yeah, it works because you heal and you start to love yourself and you start to understand who you are. And isn't that what you want? That was one of the earlier messages that I received from Wilhelm, because I would never look at what I had accomplished. And they said, isn't your purpose of your life to acknowledge what you've accomplished? I rarely did that. You might not have done it either. But it doesn't matter, because now you can, because I've created the thing that anyone can use to understand who they are, cause themselves to live this magnificent life, and then make a contribution to the world. Because that's what we all do. We're all contributing to the formation of our world. That was the thing that Wilhelm gave me as well, and I couldn't understand that. How do we do that? Well, you start to understand everything is energy, and you are energy, and you are consciousness. You just needed a way to understand how to develop it and how to use it, and that's what I was given. But I'm going to leave you with a few documents, because what I'm also doing is, once you uncover what your whole entire life has been about, you've got to really give it to others, and that's what I'm doing. And I said that I had a weekend special that's going through Monday, because I am now putting all this information. It's been 36 years of content that I have that can just transform your life. And I know that it does that because it's happened for me and for so many others. I just haven't finished it, as you haven't finished what you're here to do. You see, we would be in a very different place in our lives and in our world if more of us would move over the fear of owning ourselves. That's really all that it is. And at this time in our world, this change that we're moving through is generational. So all of your old stuff is coming up from your parents, your ancestors, and all that you've got to contend with. We all do. We don't come in without that kind of thread. And so I'm going to show you a couple of things that will explain it, and I'll leave the links to the documents because I want you to really understand that you exist on the earth at this time, at a most magnificent time, because if you decide to love yourself, you will know that your life meant something. You will know that your life was causing the world to become better because you decided that you were going to love yourself and do what you came to the world to do. And I know that you have it, and I'm going to continue the rest of my life helping those understand that, those who are willing to get to that place in their lives where they're really loving themselves and fulfilling their potential, because this work will absolutely do that for you. First of all, I'm going to start with something different today. We have seen the changes happening, and most of them have been in the United States. We have felt that, and we're probably feeling it today, as a matter of fact, and we will feel it in the next couple of days. But I'm going to go back and show you the messages and the information, just little bits of it, that Wilhelm started giving me to give to all of us to understand what was happening and what we were moving through. And you can see the dates. There were some earlier, but starting in 2020. First, we are speaking to each person individually and your world collectively, primarily due to the current world conditions and the events in the United States. We have given you several messages on this subject, but we will summarize here. Love is the most powerful force that exists. It is powerful because it does not restrict its energy. It does not limit its energy and continues to expand because love is the absence of all judgment. If each of you comes to understand and accept this concept, you and your world will evolve exponentially. That was the message that came through. First of all, we had to let go of the judgment of ourselves, because that's what we're always doing. And then we were going to see everyone else that we were going to judge as well. And that is all energy. And when you start to understand the type of energy that you're using in your world, in your life, will then cause your life to become a certain way. And that is what you put into the world as well. Then we still come down to there are times throughout our civilization where we shift in our beliefs about certain things, and this time it's really about men. It's not about that, it's about the energy again. But this message was saying masculine energy sometimes finds it difficult to be vulnerable. As we have said, you are all embodying your feminine nature at this time, and in doing so, you evolve. You and your world are doing this now, and your father is proud because they could not accomplish as much as you. What that was referring to is that we are completing things that our ancestors could not have done. This one speaking about our fathers, because that's where we usually look to our parents to see, well, are we doing the same or more? Well, this time we're meant to do more. Then in this one, the next one, we led Roger to a photo this morning of the removal of a statue of one of the former presidents of the United States, as it depicted the president on a horse with subservient images beside and below him of a Native American and African American. You were taught inadequacy, and that is why you were angry. And that message was saying that we would all start feeling a kind of anger within us because we were reflecting on that old history where we had allowed ourselves to be subservient. And we're going to decide now, and we're going to stay in that place or move beyond it. We can only decide that in our own lives. We can't go out and change it, but you can change it within yourself. Then, the more you know, the less you understand. Now, this one was important because I receive messages, I receive information precognitively, as many of you know, and sometimes, and I stop myself because it sometimes feels uncomfortable, and I'm not going to talk about it, but I'm letting go of that one as well. The more you know, the less you understand. This message will illustrate what we wanted to impart to you all. We gave Roger that title, and then we sat here for quite a while before he would deliver the message because he wanted to know first where we were leading him. Currently, a restructuring is occurring, and given that you collectively hold the fear of the unknown, that fear will become more significant as you are in the midst of a profound change. Now, that was saying that we were going to be moving through change, and none of us like to change. We stay stuck in who we have known ourselves to be, and the world, the universe says that's not happening now. We are affected by the energies of the planets, the galaxy, the cosmology, the astronomy, all of that. We just come to understand it at different times. And then this one. Sometimes we try to not look at ourselves. We don't want to see our past or what we have done. We do that individually and also collectively, and that never helps us because we can't correct anything we're not willing to look at. And that was going, they brought this up because in the United States there were times where we were trying to hide that history so we wouldn't see it, but that history still lives within each of us. Understanding your past may help you accept your present. We will have much more, but after this weekend of the United States celebrating its freedom, it will also encounter its enslavement. And many of you will release yours by understanding this message. You are here to do great work. Roger found his freedom this morning through Napoleon. You might find yours also. They were referring to Napoleon Hill, who I'd spoken about, who would say things like, everything is possible, and he had to get rid of the word impossible, and I knew that as well. But to give it to everyone else, especially when we're going through a lot of trauma, is challenging. Next, you are in the process of being restructured. First, please note this message has been decades in the making for Roger and you. We are indeed using the collective you in this message, and you may understand why we have recently started using this phraseology. It is because you, the individually and the collective you, are evolving, which occurs through the destruction of the old you. Now that's what we've been seeing within ourselves, within our world, but we got to decide which one we want to create next, and that's what we're doing. And the way we create anything is by accepting ourselves. And that message was saying every pressure you were feeling was moving you into self-acceptance. And eventually you will come to understand yourself and you will be pleased with the results. That's what Wilhelm was saying. We get so afraid of uncovering what's within us, but then we find that it is something that is brilliant that we were just hiding from. And that's what I've done, so I do know. How can your intolerance serve you? And that's what we were all moving through. First, you must acknowledge that you have it, and then ask yourself why. That sentence sometimes contains the answer you will find in this message. We told you that your world is moving through a restructuring period, which occurs through establishing new norms of ways of being. You do this by making choices of who you each desire to be. The choice you make will aid evolution in some way. The challenge you all have is making those choices while holding on to your ideas of right and wrong. We will tell you a story to illustrate. That was, yeah. And those, you'll find that in these documents. Anyway, your soul family is at work. That means you're going to come into things now where you're going to not agree with everyone, and we've all seen it. And you have to find those people that are going to be on the same wavelength as you. We do not all operate on the same level of consciousness. And when we understand different levels of consciousness, then it becomes a little easier. But this one is the best. Which probable reality would you like? We told you some time ago that you are restructuring your world, and the United States would lead the way. Please remember that we are speaking to you individually and the world. Again, that last sentence is one you each have trouble accepting. But that is also purposeful, and without it, you would not evolve. It means that we're always in the process of coming to understand our importance of being in the world. And we form different ways of doing that. And at different times, when the civilizations have changed, certain people will develop ways of understanding consciousness. And I was given a new way, which was so different because I'm sitting down and I'm accessing cosmic guidance, and that's intelligence that's coming through. And it was, because it healed absolutely everything within me and others, and then I had to go and find, well, why did that work? We've done this throughout history. There have been many others who have done it. I had to finally put myself in that place, just as you do. That's that old thing about feeling like we have this imposter syndrome, when not understanding that we're coming into the world to do something new. So yeah, it's going to feel different. It's going to feel like you're embodying something that has never existed because you were supposed to do it. That's why. And so let me show you this. And I had to accept this about myself, because I want you to accept what is coming up about you, because you've got something brilliant, that's brewing within you to come through now. You'll see all of these links in the video, but I just wanted you to have this. Um, Wilhelm kept talking about consciousness, and that's the only thing we have when we come in. But there have been so many references about the evolution of human consciousness, and we must understand that, because we will live in different places. When I'm doing a channeling session, I'm accessing information that I didn't understand because it was coming from a higher place of consciousness. And so I thought I would put together a little document that shows the history, and my chat GPT, my artificial intelligence, helped put it together so you can read it all. But it just shows the times where different people have developed certain things, and it was fascinating because many of them I was led back to. I had not studied them, but they were all included in this work, because consciousness is a continuation. No one has it to develop. No one knows it all. We keep taking from others, and it's a consciousness in the ethers, so to speak. I love using that one. From Napoleon Hill. It's in the ethers, and that's in that your thinking. That's where it exists. And then different people come around and they figure out how to put that together. And obviously, I was given that way through this work, and that was something that was challenging for me to even accept. As sometimes when you're doing something, it's going to be that way for you because it is new. But I'm telling you, when you use your consciousness and do it deliberately and do it every day and you have direction, that's how you come to who you're meant to become. That's how this philosophy changes your life and eventually the world as well. Because the philosophy is saying that every person is born with something of value and worth. We have just forgotten that. And so now this is a way for more of us to remember. And it was something that felt um, too big for me, and I kind of hid from it as well because it took me so long to write it all out. But I'll show you this one document that is in the description. But there's also a special that I'm having this weekend that I want you to look at, so you'll see that link. But I want you to see that everything was given, and even though I doubted that this had the ability to change everything, you have to understand, it changed my life. It healed things that people couldn't understand. But still, the doubt was there. You will do the same thing because it hasn't been there. We have this cognitive dissonance even of what we can accomplish because we hadn't seen it before. And then when you create something new, everyone else is going to have the same thing. No one could believe that I had done this, including me. But I'm saying that, yes, this is what happened. I know what you can accomplish as well. But this is the one that will give you the greater idea of all of this. Okay, this one is fun. I just put this together this morning. I again used my chat GPT to analyze. The first message I received again was on February 19th, 1989. And through those messages over the years, there was this continual doubt that I had. And you'll love a lot of this because you've had it as well. Yes, it is indeed wise for you to realize how powerful you are and also to acknowledge the innate benevolence of your being. You seem to consistently maintain a subtle fear that somehow you would use your power in an ego-oriented way to the detriment of others. The truth for you is exactly the opposite, for the more you gain, you give away. Relax and enjoy. Well, I didn't relax and enjoy, but I'm going to do that now. You will see that it was so shocking to me that I was making this connection and I was accessing this information, and I continued to doubt it. And you'll love this message because it will just show you the kind of process that we go through in our consciousness. That's all that's occurring. Doesn't matter who you are. It's the same thing as you're human. You're going to doubt what you can accomplish. It doesn't matter what stature you reach or how rich you are. It's the same thing. Okay. And then you'll see this. They just take each message and go through and just give you some of the examples, and you will find yourself in there. But this is the best one. The present is your gift. Now, if we could just hold on to that one, we would be really happy. Because in this moment right now, nothing's happening. You see, and that's the thing that when we're stressed, when we can don't know where to go, come back to that place. Everything changes, but it's a practice, and everything is a practice of using your consciousness. And you'll see this just went through and took those messages and just went through all of it. It's just really kind of cool. I just wanted to give you that one. But anyway, so the other thing that I'm going to leave with you, which has all the links in it, and it's a special for this weekend, because, yeah, I am going to. This is the most astonishing thing ever that I could have imagined that I might have come through me, but I also know that it's going to do so much good for so many others, so I can no longer hide out from it, which is what I was doing because it was developing over all of these years. I'm 74, and this work has just changed everything in my life, and you'll hear it from so many others as well. And they've only done just a portion. That's the thing I've always talked about. I only given people a portion of this work. Now I'm doing all of it, and I'm going to get other help because I want to take it to a much larger audience now, because that's what's needed for us to up level our world, our consciousness, our lives. It's going to be much better for people who want to see something better in the world. And I know that that's you. You wouldn't be listening to this. And so you'll understand that is a way for you to do it. So I'm going to show you the this special, because I put a lot of information in it because I just wanted you to understand what the program is, what it will do for you, because it's about taking you to the life you're supposed to have, knowing your purpose, living it, moving beyond your trauma, your fear, your doubt, your judgment, all of that stuff. And that's how you live the world, the life you're supposed to have. And eventually we start creating a much better world that we all want. But this is the special. And here it is. You can scroll. I'll leave the link. You can scroll through it. It's in a video kind of thing, but you can scroll through the pages so you can see all of it. Because I just want you to understand how it came about, how what it's going to do for you. You have a dream. Every person does. You have something you were born into this world to accomplish and to manifest, and now you can do it because this will take you there. This will get you to understand it all. And I didn't understand it myself, because why did it work so well? It worked because it contacted this higher source of information that I was able to access, and so now I'm able to give it to you. But I want you to go through all of it so you can see it. And I couldn't have known this until we had moved through all the changes that we have in our world. And then I started to see, well, this is why it was given to me. And then what I'm doing, for those of you who come in now, you have a bonus, because I will meet with you for an hour, whether it's for a private session or channeling or whatever you want, because I can always tune into where you're going, where you should be, and what can happen for you. That's what I'm going to be devoting more of my life to now, because I will. There is a channeling that we will do on the new moon coming up on the 27th, and then I'm also taking private channeling sessions as well. So I'm shifting everything. You'll see my site's going to be different. Everything's going to change because, yeah, this is how I'm going to spend the rest of my life, developing this work and bringing this philosophy to those who really want to reach their full potential. But now I can leave this with everyone. You have an opportunity to do it now as well, and you will move over your fear. That's what happens. See you soon.